here we go, let's start the show. Steelers by the leg, it's time to get that day. James, Cody, Nick, and Jill on the mic. It's about to get real, keep it live, that's right. From Pennsylvania to across the globe, it's time for this Steelers All-Star Show.
Welcome to the Steelers by the Lake podcast. My name is James Strong, joined once again by my co-hosts, Odie Tanner, Nick Pretzel, Jill from Ohio. Nicholas, I'm going to start with you. How are you doing on this New Coach Tuesday?
New Coach Tuesday it is. A special episode edition.
Monday.
It is Monday.
Who knows
We're all
what
turned around. The days are all melding together. The tundra is going strong out there. I think I do actually have a little bit of frostbite, hence the title down there. So keep yourselves nice and warm if you're going out there. But yeah, we're here. We're going to talk the new coaching situation. Jill, how's it going?
I am freezing, but snowed in, so feeling a little bit rested. Got to sleep in this morning. Was very pleased with that. So feeling pretty good. Cody, how you doing today?
Not as cold as you guys. Again, it is getting chillier. All three of my propane tanks were empty today. Had to go fill up. So that was a fun time. But we do have a lot of fun things to talk about, and I am doing well. James, how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm excited to be back at home. I'm the only one had to go driving 250 miles in this nonsense today. So not the greatest morning, but happy to be home, warm, and talking about a new head coach for the Steelers. An unplanned emergency episode today. We've got feelings, we've got thoughts. If you listen to Saturday's show, we were talking about the head coaching candidates for the Pittsburgh Steelers. One got chosen later on that day, of course, making the head show kind of outdated very quickly. So we figured we'd better do an emergency show for you guys and give you our opinions on this new head coach, Mike McCarthy.
Here's the thing. I'm just going to kick it off right away. I think I'm most disappointed that we did not do any in-person with Chula and Shieldhouse. Like, we didn't wait and do due diligence. And I mean, we're not in the rooms. I don't know what's going on behind the closed doors. So they clearly liked McCarthy and we're like, why wait? Let's just go with him. But it just, with so many opportunities, I'm, as a fan, just disappointed that it seems like we're going with the same style of coach that the whole city's upset about, that style of coaching right now, to then just go to this style of coaching, which is the same. Like, it's not new. I had so much hope going into the season, and now I'm like 10-7, first round playoff exit again.
I typed out some initial thoughts when we all heard about the hiring. I said, we hired offensive white Mike Tomlin. The Steelers are allergic to rebuilds. Welcome back to 10-7. And I swear time stopped for Art Rooney's brain at the turn of the century. And then I also typed one positive thought. At least he has a record of developing young quarterback talent.
Right.
So I wasn't all negative. I was mostly negative, but at least we hired, a guy who's on the offensive side of the ball. Right. We haven't really had a whole ton of complaints about the defense. And I say a whole ton because there have been some complaints, but for the past several years. So as long as he can get a good defensive coordinator in the building, we should, emphasis on the should, see an increase in offense, which is what we've been wanting to see for a little while now. So we'll see what's going on. There have been reports coming out that he's very high on Will Howard, which is what a lot of the fan base did want. So we'll see if we get some Will Howard playtime this year, especially if Aaron Rodgers doesn't come back, which it seems like that's the whole point of this hire, is to try and get Aaron Rodgers to come back and go for another push. But I don't know. I mean, Cody's shaking his head. I don't want that either.
No. I'm shaking my head because that's not apparently the whole reason of this hiring. But I think it's, to the fans, it looks that way. And people are saying that it's not that. So let me clarify. James is looking at me confused. I've been watching everything on all day today, working from home. ESPN, Adam Schefter, all these guys are saying that, Pittsburgh likes the McCarthy ties to Pittsburgh, likes his coaching style, likes the offensive-minded guy, that he's a better fit for dealing with an offense than a defense, but we didn't bring him in for Aaron Rodgers. Now that's what everyone's saying. I shaking my head because as much as I agree with you, apparently that's not what's being happening. Like that's not what's actually happening in front of everybody. I think that just like I said, I have mixed reviews on this. Just like I said on the last show, I do believe that this was the best hire if you want a chance to go win a Super Bowl this year with potentially Aaron Rodgers and everything. However, I'm going to hate this hire the moment Aaron Rodgers is gone or if he stays gone and we have to go through this rebuild. I would rather rebuild with a younger head coach than an older one. Now, the alternate thought that I've had with this is maybe they bring him in. What was it, a 5-year deal he signed?
5, yes.
Yep.
So maybe they interview these other coordinators and like, hey, we are just going to have him here for 5 years. We've already discussed it with him that we then want to transfer to a younger guy and bring them up from within the building. That would be the only thing that would make me feel better, and I don't think that's happened. But we'll see what happens. I don't think we have a chance at Steel. What is it?
Shieldhouse.
Yeah,
Shula.
Shieldhouse or Shula.
Shula.
I don't think we have a chance at either one of them now. So
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a chance of getting Shieldhouse because he's just a passing game coordinator, and I don't know how many other teams are interviewing him. So it's a big roll of the dice to hire a guy who's never called an offense before. So I think we have the potential of seeing him move up to a coordinator position. And unless you poach McVay's coordinator, which I don't think many people are going to be going after his OC because McVay's the one who's running the show there anyway, we might be able to get Shieldhouse as an OC. It's going to be a roll of the dice anyway because he's never been an OC before, but he's a pass game coordinator. You're doing it under Mike McCarthy, who's an offensive-minded coach already, so it wouldn't be the end of the world to bring in the Shieldhouse. I think there's still a good shot of him. I'm further away from seeing us being able to bring in Shula.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Shula's completely out now because I can't imagine him leaving without taking a head coaching job.
Right.
There's no reason for him to move parallel when he can stay in Los Angeles and still be one of the most sought-after candidates out there. So I think for him, if he doesn't like any of his options remaining, then he just stays there for another season and then sees what comes up next year. Shieldhouse, on the other hand, like you mentioned, the possibility of stepping up into an offensive coordinator position is that one next step on the rung, gets you a little bit closer if your ultimate goal is to become a head coach. That looks better on the resume, assuming you don't completely faceplant. So to me, with Mike McCarthy, the biggest issue Pittsburgh had that I think we've all kind of agreed upon here is the lack of getting to the next quarterback post Ben Roethlisberger. After Ben Roethlisberger's final couple of years when he just wasn't what he used to be anymore, we've cycled through a bunch of different quarterbacks. We took one stab in the draft at a first-round guy. It didn't work out. So identifying and developing who the next quarterback is going to be is the most important thing for this team. And that is one of the things that Mike McCarthy has a claim to. He's been very good with getting the most out of his quarterbacks and trying to develop guys that are already on a team. Apparently, he spoke very highly of Will Howard during his interview process, which is something that Pittsburgh kind of was hoping to hear from people. Obviously, the ties to Aaron Rodgers are very thick, as Aaron started his career under Mike McCarthy. As far as his starting career, he was already drafted previous to McCarthy getting there. But he's the one that was there through the entire beginning part and probably a decent amount of the middle of his career as well. So you look at the most success that he's had, it's all about offense for him. He's a scoring guy, right? They won the scoring title in the NFL 4 times with him as the head coach. They were in the top 5 9 times. So that's saying something. This is a guy that does put high scoring, high octane offenses together. Has he had the playoff and championship success that we would hope to see on a resume? No, but if he did, he wouldn't be available right now. So he's got that one Super Bowl win. We're all familiar with that one. We all remember him beating the Steelers, unfortunately.
Yes.
I'll tell you the one thing I remember most from that Super Bowl is thinking, man, we can't even slow this offense down. Aaron Rodgers seems just unstoppable in this game. and Polamalu's not even a factor somehow. Like, he's never even in the frame on every single play. They just came up with a game plan to avoid the best player on the Steelers defense at all costs, and it worked.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It worked, and it kept us completely out of the game. So there have been high points in his career where he has coached very well. Unfortunately, it hasn't been recently. We're talking about a lot of the same frustrations we held with Mike Tomlin. Fans are having the same frustrations with Mike McCarthy, having not won in the playoffs in 7 years, I believe. So it's a similar thing in certain areas. And Cody just put up this graphic for us here. So if you're audio only, I'll read it back and forth for you. We've got Tomlin versus Mike McCarthy here. 19 seasons for Tomlin, McCarthy 18 seasons. Tomlin's regular season record of 193, 114, and 2. Mike McCarthy 174, 112, and 2. So almost 20 more wins for Mike Tomlin during that time. The win percentage 628 versus 608, so a little better on the Tomlin side of things. Playoffs 8-12 record for Tomlin versus 11-11 for McCarthy. So McCarthy a little more successful in the playoffs. Division wins 8 for each of them. Super Bowl wins 1 for each of them. So it is more similar than it is dissimilar when you start looking at that part of the resume on it. But I do think that with the goal in mind of Pittsburgh going to the next chapter and finding the quarterback and becoming that team again, where we can look at it every single year and say, because we have player X at quarterback, we have a chance every year. Mike McCarthy is the guy that they identified as the person that would best be able to figure out who that's going to be for them. So
I hope they're right.
I hope they're right as well. I wanted a young guy too. we all made that perfectly clear on Saturday's show. We all wanted one of the young candidates. But if he can find our next head coach and then we bring in a young guy for the next 15 to 20, maybe it's the best of both worlds. Mm-hmm. And you take that stress off a defensive guy of trying to figure out who the quarterback is.
And that was kind of what I said earlier with if we can bring somebody in and say, hey, and kind of plan it. I felt like the transition from Cowher to Tomlin obviously wasn't planned. This one I felt like even was more or less planned. And so that's what my hope is. I hope they use this time to say, hey, McCarthy's not a long-term solution here. But we can use this as a way to actually develop a coach the same way we try to develop a player, is develop a coach under our system and see if we can get them to a point where they can go ahead and take over the reins. And there's a number of guys available, I think, both this year and potentially available next year that could come in and kind of take on that role. So I'm very hopeful for that. I don't want to. I'm trying not to be negative Nancy Cody today, because this is the one thing we all really didn't want. But I do see the potential in the short term for it, and so I'm hopeful that we at least get to see. Listen, if in the next year or two we can see a playoff win, hallelujah, praise the Lord. Okay,
that's it.
And if we can bring back the majority of the team with Aaron Rodgers, Adam Thielen, some of these veteran guys, and the defense, and Cam Hayward doesn't retire and things happen away, there's no reason we can't make it back to the playoffs. So I'm excited and stressed.
And I think that's what this hire does, because you get a guy who's been around the league, who's had some success. Now, I've seen a lot of people highlight how he's not the same motivator of men that Tomlin was, but you still have a guy who's been around the league, who's had success, who knows how to succeed in the league, albeit maybe multiple years ago. But you get a guy who's at least got some name to him that some of those veteran guys might be more willing to stick around, or maybe it might drive them away. Who knows? I'm not in their heads. I'm not in those rooms. Maybe some of those guys wanted a young up-and-comer. So we'll have to see how all of that plays out. But the one thing that does excite me about McCarthy, as we've already kind of alluded to, is his ability to develop quarterbacks. Even dating back to his OC days, I believe he was even a quarterback coach for like Joe Montana at one point. So he's been around a lot of really solid quarterbacks for a long time and been able to, develop some and also just have great environment around him to witness it and see those elements of what makes a quarterback great, what you want to see in a guy, what you're looking for, what you need, those types of elements. He's got that mentality. He's got that experience as well. So I think this is the best presently available guy to be able to develop a quarterback, because if you're going with a guy who doesn't have head coaching experience before, it's not necessarily as proven, and it's a roll of the dice. Maybe he'll turn out, maybe he won't. And maybe, you know, like we've already sort of alluded to on the show as well, we'll get the Shieldhouse coming in, tutelage from McCarthy, and then he can just step right into that role when McCarthy's done, or some other guy. But, I mean, that would be the ideal, like Cody was saying, you know, find the guy, coach him up, and then he just slides right into that vacancy when McCarthy's done.
You do have a little bit of a coaching tree, too, with McCarthy. So this is somebody who does have a thicker Rolodex when it comes to guys that he's coached with and contacts that he's made throughout the years. So you ought to be able to assemble a pretty solid staff pretty quickly to give you a chance to try to develop people of guys around him who also have a lot of experience. One of the things I heard today, again, listening to Steelers Depot, imagine that.
Love them here.
Our new middle linebacker coach from last year is somebody who's been like exclusively a Mike McCarthy guy.
Yeah.
The only reason he wasn't with him last year is because McCarthy wasn't coaching last year. So this is someone I would expect to be retained on the staff. And I would think that McCarthy's probably going to look at this and say, hey, there are some good coaches on this staff, and there are some guys that I'd like to retain here. So I don't expect it to be a complete turnover. If you listen to Saturday's show, we talked about the free agents and who we stand to lose. And there was only a few names that were significant names of possible, like, returning starters that could move on to other teams. So it doesn't look like Pittsburgh's going to lose too many key players, maybe only a couple, really. But what you wonder about is, what does this go scheme-wise? I have a feeling that with a McCarthy-style offense, we're going to have a lot more three-wide receiver, not as heavy on tight ends. So you might not need 4 tight ends in the room anymore.
Hi, Johnny.
Hi, Johnu.
Yeah. Johnny, you can basically...
We already knew he was gone. He can't go Ohio State, though, which...
You go ahead and kick Johnny to the curb. But one of the other things that you have to look at then is, what are we looking at on defense? Is this going to be the first time in maybe 30 years the Steelers don't roll out a 3-4 defense anymore? I mean, that's not his side of the ball. That's not what he specializes in. But who's he going to bring in to be the new defensive coordinator, and are they going to want to run a 4-3? Because if so, some of our guys don't fit that scheme.
Nope.
Some of our outside linebackers are not big enough to be in a 4-3, and this is another conversation probably nobody was ready to have. But if they go 4-3, that might be the end of days for Nick Herbig in Pittsburgh.
Which would be really, really sad, because he's had such a positive impact on our defense. So, I mean, I get not fitting him into the scheme, but that would suck. It would suck.
It would suck, but I want to prepare people for it. Because being a 240-pound outside linebacker, that is a very rare thing for a 4-3 defense. Now, Will Anderson's making it work in Houston, so maybe they try. Right? That's about what Will Anderson is. But he's also like a freak elite pass rusher. So whether or not they'd be willing to try that, I don't know. Now, I think the other 3 guys, Sawyer's probably the biggest of the 3. He would definitely fit as a 4-3 defensive end. Highsmith and TJ, I think, have proven to be tough enough against the run that they would probably be all right. But you would probably see a change in the trend of our outside linebackers who would now become defensive ends to going towards the bigger framed guys, the 265 to 275 pound type dudes, you know, the more Bud Dupree type size guys. The Myles Garrett size kind of athletes, that's what you typically see in a 4-3 defense. So it might change a few things on how things are done in Pittsburgh. And it might change the necessity of drafting D-line too. Because then you don't have 3 defensive linemen out there in your base defense. as far as like the big 300+ pound dudes. You only have 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so once we start hearing some of these hires come through, we'll definitely be having more of these discussions, especially as the draft looms, who might be a trade candidate to be able to get some potential more capital if you're getting a guy to be in that coaching position that's going to be switching up your scheme, because then you might be able to say, hey, Nick Herbig's no longer really a fit for us. Let's see what we can get for him. And then you might end up with another third, second round pick if you can. Maybe the con artist gets us a first for him. You never know. But it's going to be a really interesting offseason. There's going to be a lot of discussion we're going to have once those hires come through to be able to be like, okay, so this is what they're likely to run. Here's guys that we might be able to move and get things back for, or trade for another player from another team. Some trade targets to discuss.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that are going to come and be moving targets of discussion as this offseason goes on, beyond the normal things, because there's a new coaching scheme. There's a new era in Pittsburgh and a new era always. And I don't think Mike McCarthy is going to be one of the guys that comes in. And I remember we've seen a lot of times, and I'm trying to think of an example before I say it, but I can't right now. If you guys think of one, tell me. But sometimes you see coaches enter a team and they make drastic changes to everything. Yeah. And I don't think Mike McCarthy's going to come in with an iron hammer and say, this is how we're doing it. This is what we're like. I think he's going to be more of probably an audible and vocal presence in practice and at games. We're going to see him get mad probably more than we've seen Tomlin get mad. And he's going to express that a little more. But I don't think he's going to come in and expect this team just to say, yeah, forget the coach we had, forget Mike Tomlin. He's going to be very much more respectful of, I think, that coaching transition than, not that younger guys aren't, but I think younger guys get excited and want to do all these things, and they come in with a little bit more change than what we might see out of McCarthy. The one question I do want to know that none of you guys will be able to answer is, I wonder if there's a beer in the fridge in the office.
I think Mike Tomlin is so like traditional and old school. I almost guarantee he left that in there.
I'm wondering if he found one from Mike's old bar or something, tracked it down, because he used to own a bar in Pittsburgh.
McCarthy.
So McCarthy, yeah, but it used to be called Joe McCarthy's Bar and Grill. So I'm wondering if he was able to track down something that he used to carry or something like that, or something that he likes, or just threw an icy light in there. I mean, you know how it is in the Berg, but I was laughing because shout out to Benchwarmer Bran on TikTok. He does a lot of good NFL comedy videos, and he said he was being the Pittsburgh front office, and he's like, I really think we should replace a guy named Mike who's been around the league for a while and hasn't really had a lot of playoff success since 2011 with a guy named Mike who's been around for a while who hasn't had a lot of playoff success since 2011. So we hope that changes for you here, McCarthy. We're wishing you the best. You weren't our first choice, but you're our coach, and we're gonna be fans whether you're around for the long term or not. So let's get some wins in.
Speaking of my first choice of place to go eat is the Edinburgh Hotel Bar.
Very good.
Well played. Supporters of Steelers by the Lake include the Edinburgh Hotel Bar at 100 Meadville Street in downtown Edinburgh, offering daily lunch and dinner specials from 11 a.m. to 2 a.m. For more information, call 814-734-5103 or visit edinburghhotelbar.com.
Real quick before we move on, I do think what you were alluding to, Cody, where you don't think McCarthy will come in and change everything. I mean, he is, I'll put this in the pro column, even though I literally don't care. Like, he's from Pittsburgh, because I don't I'm here for all those stories of he's a, true Pittsburgh native. And that's just,
he's a Yinzer.
He's a Yinzer. And I'm like, that is great. But I literally don't care unless it's actually productive and he's actually a good fit for the mold, and he's going to take, this franchise and actually do something well with it, and not just first round exit of the playoffs. But which is what I fear is going to happen. It's like the two sides of the coin. I am excited because he is from Pittsburgh, and so I feel like he grew up watching the Steelers. He has that culture. just like innately in him of like what Steeler football should be, like the true foundation of it. And so even things like, again, shout out Steelers Depot. It's like, I think training camp will still be at Latrobe. That was something that like those little things of like, will the new coach move training camp? And like, that's kind of one of the cool things about the Steelers is how public that is and how, you know, there are other teams that they go to, like they go onto a different location for their training camp. And like, it is just right up in the public eye. And so I feel like that's something maybe McCarthy will keep, which I feel like is such a good, even though it's like not super for the season, that's such a good staple in Pittsburgh that will hopefully stay. But then at the flip side, it's like, all right, well, we've been doing the same thing for 17 years now. I need something a little bit different. You know, I need a little. And so hopefully with him being off, like on the offensive side of the ball, him having being a quarterback's coach for however long he was with the Chiefs, right? He was quarterback coach with the Chiefs.
He was quarterback coach with the Chiefs from 95 to 98, quarterback coach for the Packers and 99 also.
Okay. So like, that's good. That gives me a little bit of hope when it does come to, especially Will Howard. Like if you're actually going to roll the dice on Will Howard, you have a head coach who has actual quarterback coaching background that can facilitate that in a positive manner. But then just really looking for hopefully a good DC that will keep our steel curtain alive. So
it's funny y'all mention him being a Yinzer. There's another radio show out of Pittsburgh, 96.1 The Kiss. And they read a lot of Facebook comments after games and
is it Mike calls?
Yep.
I love them. I love Mike.
They were reading the comments after the McCarthy hire, and some Pittsburgh lady was like, "I saw the picture and I thought it was my husband." So you truly know that. They said probably a lot of Mike McCarthy lookalikes in the Greenville area of Pittsburgh. So you know he's a Yinzer through and through.
Amazing.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. You bring up some good points here, Jill. You have to think that being from Pittsburgh, if anybody's going to take it personal to get Pittsburgh back to glory, he's got his dream job.
Yeah.
Growing up, getting into coaching in the NFL, there's 32 teams. What are the chances you're ever going to coach for the team you grew up cheering for? This is a personal thing for Mike McCarthy to try to get this team back to glory, to what he grew up with. Right? If he's 62 years old, he saw all the Steelers Super Bowl wins in the 70s. He grew up with that.
Yep.
He was a little kid twirling a terrible towel bigger than his head and watching the Steelers win 4 Super Bowls in the 70s. He saw the stretch of time during the 80s where they were no good, and then just to finally get back into the Super Bowl and Super Bowl 30 and lose to the Cowboys in a heartbreaking fashion, and then finally back into glory again just to go through this bad stretch again. This guy should take it more personal than any of the other candidates could have ever taken it. And I'm not saying that the other candidates wouldn't have been a better candidate, because I do think that some of these other guys might have been better long-term than what you can possibly get out of a guy who's already 62. But this should be real personal with Mike McCarthy, and I love that. You get something where somebody feels real passionate about it, you're going to get the best that they've got to offer. So I don't know, man. Maybe that's why he never had the playoff success in Dallas, because he didn't like him growing up.
I hope that's actually, because I was thinking about that. This is such a random tangent, but like I was like, who in their right mind, being from Pittsburgh, would willingly go and coach at Dallas?
I mean, you could pay me a couple million.
For Jerry's money, I'm in.
But like, I'm just over here like, as a Pittsburgh fan, really, you're going and coaching at Dallas?
Because the number of times you'd have to play the Steelers is so limited being as a Cowboys coach.
Yep.
Tinfoil hat. The whole reason he went there was to just make sure they didn't win in the playoffs.
Love it. Yes.
Well done, Mike. Well done, Mike.
But I do want to like kind of what you were saying, James, with the age, and Cody, you started to allude to this before, like in our pre-show. But like he only signed the 5-year contract, which is typical with coaches. And so maybe this isn't the long-term solution. Maybe it is because it's personal. And maybe he conveyed that in the meeting. I mean, like there's a lot of things we don't know about. So maybe he conveyed it in the meeting, how personal it might be to him to like, I really want to develop these quarterbacks. And like, I might only be here for 5 years, but I will leave you the franchise quarterback so that whoever comes in after me has a good amount to work with and not leave it in shambles. So,
Or hey,
Yeah.
maybe Mike McCarthy's entering his Andy Reid era. You know,
You know what?
You never know. You never
Wouldn't
know.
be mad at him.
Obviously this is a talking point that's going to be consistent throughout this offseason, talking about things that he's doing. He wasn't our first choice, but do you know who really, really, really wasn't our first choice?
Go there.
I'm trying.
It's not the Edinburgh Hotel Bar, people.
Shadeur Sanders.
But he definitely was not our first choice. Not even close.
Shadeur Sanders. Let's talk about it, guys. It's the Pro Bowl. People are backing out left and right. And today the news broke that Shadeur Sanders somehow found his way to the Pro Bowl. And I wanted to go through a little bit of an exercise with you guys on this because it seems like an absolute joke that he could have possibly got in. And I want to hear you guys tell me, would you rather put Shadeur in or would you rather take the quarterback from this AFC team? And we're going to start with each division. AFC East, New England Patriots, Drake May.
Obviously
Drake, but he's going to the Super Bowl, so he can't go.
Right.
Drake May.
Yeah.
As the kids call him.
Josh Allen.
Yes.
Josh
hands down.
Obviously Josh. Tua Tagovailoa.
Tua.
I'd take Tua over him as well.
As surprising as it is, Tua.
Yeah. So we're unanimous on that.
Yeah.
I don't think the Jets had anyone that's worth mentioning. Justin Fields got benched a couple times throughout the season, so you might actually have a leg up on Justin Fields. But we go to the West. We got Bo Nix with Denver. Obviously, he's got a broken ankle, but Bo would have been an easy one over top of him.
Yep.
Justin Herbert with the Chargers.
Yes.
There's some speculation he might have an injury as well, which would have put him out of it.
Yep.
Pat Mahomes to Kansas City. There's 5. Again, he's injured also, so he's not eligible to go also. I don't think the Raiders put anybody forward this year that would have been good enough to include. I don't think Geno was pretty bad. Kenny was bad when he went in. So I don't think the Raiders have anybody. Let's go to the AFC North. Aaron Rodgers.
Yep.
Clearly way better. 24 touchdowns to 7 interceptions. Shadeur was 8 touchdowns to 10 interceptions. Lamar Jackson, there's number 7 for you.
Well, and what a comeback after all the injuries. Like that alone. Joe
Burrow, that puts us to 8. I would say the Bengals had 2 guys, with Joe Flacco being very clearly better than Shadeur this season as well.
Yep.
That brings us up to 9 guys now. I don't know that I would put Dylan Gabriel over top of him, so I guess I'll give Shadeur the nod over Dylan. But we still have the South. Jacksonville Jaguars.
Trevor Lawrence.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence for sure. There's 10. Houston, CJ Stroud.
Yep.
There's 11. Yep. Indianapolis, well, if
Daniel Jones, if he hadn't gotten injured.
If he hadn't gotten injured, he was going in front of him. So Danny's not eligible because he was injured. Rivers didn't play good enough. I can't.
I still would have done it.
I can't with Rivers. Tennessee, definitely. The rookie,
Cam Ward.
Cam Ward had a way better season. That's 12 quarterbacks. That's 12 quarterbacks that were clearly better and by a significant amount in the AFC than Shadeur Sanders. And somehow Shadeur Sanders makes it into the Pro Bowl. Now, again, we talked about the injuries with these guys, and there was probably at least 5 of them wouldn't have been eligible because of injuries.
And then 1 because he's in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So that's half of them. That's half.
Yeah. But that's only half.
Right.
Like,
assume half of the guys left don't want to go in. That still leaves full 3.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, he's right. That leaves 3 people. You cut out for a second there, Cody.
Yep. 3 guys.
Yeah, that leaves 3 other people clearly drastically better than what we got out of him. So it's just embarrassing that they thought that this was a good idea.
Yep.
And it really takes away the credibility of what a Pro Bowl means.
Yep. Well, and that's what we talked about a couple weeks ago with talking about Heinz Ward's nomination for Hall of Fame and like how many Pro Bowls he got versus like the new age guys that are getting Pro Bowls. It is not the same game. It's not the same measuring scales. And for so many people to willingly back out of the Pro Bowl should speak all that we need to know about it. Like, it's just not worth it at this point. There's no competition caliber to it. And tell me that you are not, maximizing. That's not even the right word, but like solely your last name got you in the Pro Bowl. Like that,
Yeah.
it just
The popularity contest.
your stats do not deserve a Pro Bowl. I'm sorry. And no,
100%. I agree with you 100%, Joe. And the problem we have, we don't have a problem with it being a popularity vote, but then you have to change the way that you address Hall of Fame voting moving forward. You have to.
Yeah.
Because if this is the case, after a mediocre career, someone could say, well, he has 5, 6, 7 Pro Bowls.
No.
But he didn't do anything in the league to award even maybe a first team or second team All Pro. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So I'd argue, I mean, it's probably not the best case, but Snoop Huntley played just as many games as Shadeur Sanders did, had a QBR of 80.9. Shadeur Sanders had a QBR 18.9.
Yeah, and what was Huntley's TD to interception ratio that year? Because I remember him having more interceptions than touchdowns that year.
Snoop Huntley's, this was this year, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions.
Oh,
Now,
okay. I was talking
now-
about the year that Huntley went in the Pro Bowl. I thought that's what you were talking about.
Oh, no, I'm talking about this year. They played in the same
Okay,
number of
yeah,
games.
so there's a 13.
There's
Yeah.
another one.
Yeah,
What are we
yeah.
Pro Bowl?
Yeah, and I mean, like, now, granted, that offense features Derrick Henry rather heavily, but you still have a guy who's going out there and protecting the ball and playing at, like, his QBR rating is 60 points higher.
Well, and I'm gonna even play devil's advocate in your comparison there when you say, however, that team has Derrick Henry. If we said however, we would be saying however to every team and make an excuse for every team that doesn't do well or does do well based on the other players on their team. We're just talking about these specific guys. And Shadeur
Exactly.
Sanders did not play well enough to be awarded a Pro Bowl. Period. Point blank.
Not even close. And
I
it's
agree.
so laughable that we're in this scenario currently.
When Tyler Huntley got voted into the Pro Bowl, and this is the one that this reminds me of the most, it was 2022. He played in 4 games. They went 2-2 in those games. Had 658 passing yards in 4 games total, so well under 200 yards a game. 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and they voted him in.
Be so for real.
Yeah.
Trash.
So when we talk about an anti-Steeler bias, there is as much of an anti-Steeler bias as there is a pro-Browns bias. Because you can't realistically look at anything Snoop did that year or anything Shadeur did this year and say he's even remotely close to being qualified for any kind of nominations of any accolades at all.
Mhm.
Not any positive ones anyway.
Nope.
I mean,
You know what?
Shadeur broke the record for the worst QBR ever by a starting quarterback in NFL history with X number of starts. He hit the qualifying number. He had the worst QBR in NFL history.
Retire his number.
That 18 that Nick just put out there for us. Worst in NFL history with that number of starts.
When they played Chicago, his QBR was 6.6.
Yeah, what are we doing?
Not playing football. Not doing it well, at least.
Yeah, it's a shame. So I think the NFL needs to be transparent with when somebody like this makes it in. Okay, he's in, but he's in as a replacement player, and he's number 9 on the list.
Yeah.
6 people said we're not going to go because of injury or whatever, and it's this far down the list, and that needs to be listed in their accolades. Not just they made it to the Pro Bowl, they were an alternate, they were not a first selection, and they were this far down the list. This many people backed out before they got in.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a hot take.
That year. It was similar that year with Tyler Huntley. There was a bunch of starting quarterbacks finished the year injured, and because of it, there was like 6-7 dudes that dropped out. I didn't mean to do that to you. Sorry, Jill.
Hey, you would have just kept going. Wouldn't have mattered.
But there was a large number of quarterbacks that opted out due to injuries. And sometimes it's just minor stuff that it's not worth playing.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a hot take, but I don't think alternates should get the accolade of the Pro Bowl. You're an alternate. You weren't meant to be there.
Oh,
I don't think you should get it.
It doesn't qualify for bonus structure stuff.
Yeah.
If you have a bonus structure and you have to hit a Pro Bowl for X number of extra money in your contract, if you're an alternate, it doesn't count.
Then it shouldn't count as an accolade.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Make it make sense, NFL. Make it make sense.
Well, yeah. Make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Make a lot.
I don't know. I have nothing else left to be said about either of these topics for now. If you guys have something else to say, we can talk about it.
Comment it.
Yeah, drop it down in the comments if you got thoughts. We'd love to hear what you have to say about either the coaching hire or the clear Browns bias that is apparently happening in the Pro Bowl, which we all think is a sham. But we can't thank you enough for listening to us here at Steelers by the Lake. If you would, please give us a follow on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Spotify, and YouTube. Subscribe, ring the bell. Doesn't cost you a thing. Don't forget the 5-star reviews, especially on Apple Podcasts. Make all of us, but especially James, very, very happy. And until next time, these are your hosts, Nick, Cody, James, and Jill, signing off.
Peace.
Now it's time.